So I had 13 books for this book haul, but that would have been unlucky. Hey everyone, welcome to my book haul. So if you haven't seen any of my past book haul videos, these are the books that you'll hear me talking about in the next few months. I don't keep a big physical TBR for a couple reasons. One, I don't put a book on the shelf until I've actually read it. So number two, I don't like having just stacks of books all around the house cluttering the place up of all these unread books that don't have a place on the shelf yet. So I have these 15 books, then I have like 8 or 9 more in the other room that I haven't read yet. So these are the things that you'll hear me talk about on the channel the next few months. So if you want to hear me talk about these, just make sure that you have subscribed to the channel so you can be ready for when I upload videos about these various books. So of the 15 books I'm going to talk about, I have 1 work of nonfiction, 1 work of historical fiction, I have 1 short story collection, 5 works of science fiction, and 7 works of fantasy, including probably my most anticipated book series of the entire year. I'll save that for last, save the best for last for sure. But let's go ahead and jump in with the nonfiction book. Now, this book is a book that I can say without exaggeration has been on my TBR for 9 or 10 years. And that is Evening in the Palace of Reason, Bach Meets Frederick the Great in the Age of Enlightenment by James R. Gaines. I, as a musician, of course, love Bach. He's considered the father of Western music for good reason. But I've always been intrigued with Frederick the Great, this political military figure that united Germany, who was also an amateur composer and a major patron of the arts. He just seems like just this really colorful historical figure. So the fact that these two titans of their respective fields in history met, I really look forward to this. I don't know why it took me so long to read this, but a friend told me about it about a decade ago, and I'm finally getting to it, and I'm really looking forward to it. So my historical fiction selection. So if you're new to the channel, you might not have seen past videos about this book, but I've talked about James Clavell's Shogun a lot on the channel, probably 4 different videos this year. Also the video that I was part of on Library of a Vikings channel with the small booktubers giving their best book of the year. I talked about it there. Well, I picked up another one by Clavell, and that is Tai-Pan. So James Clavell has written 6 books that he calls the Asian Saga. And I think that what the 6 have in common is this clash of cultures between East and West. And this one promises to be a bit different than Shogun, which was set in Japan in 1600, because Tai-Pan is set in Hong Kong in the 1840s. So I'm really looking forward to reading more Clavell. I've just started to love epic length historical fiction, so this will be my next one in that vein. So my short story collection is on the shelf. Hold on. Why is it on the shelf? Because I've read it already. This is First Person Singular by Haruki Murakami. Murakami is one of my probably top 10 favorite authors, and this is a short story collection. I never read any short stories by him. This is a book that went down really quick. I literally bought it before a flight and finished it before the flight was over. So if you want to hear me talk about it, since I have read this one because it was on the shelf, that will be in my August book review, so look for that just early September. I'll upload that video. All right, on to the science fiction, because SciFi September is coming up, and I'm going to be doing a mostly SciFi September. I think of the 10 that I'll put on that TBR, I think 7 of them will be, maybe 8 of them will be in the science fiction genre. I had a great find at a trip to my local half-price books. I love when you just find something you didn't realize you needed until you saw it. And that is the Peace and War Omnibus by Joe Haldeman. So this is the 3 books that Haldeman wrote. The first one I've read, it's called The Forever War, and I read it, I don't know, forever ago, I guess. It's been a while, but I think back on it as one of my probably top 10 science fiction reads, if not top 5. In fact, I haven't made that list. Would you want to see a video like that? Let me know in the comments section below. Anyway, I read The Forever War, and what I remember is that Haldeman's experiences in the Vietnam War are what influenced that book. And I found it just a very, very great read. So at the time, I didn't realize there were sequels. So I'm looking forward to rereading The Forever War and the 2 sequels, which are called Forever Free and Forever Peace. And just looking forward to that. It's something that I wasn't looking for, but am glad that I found it. The next work of science fiction is a work so universally praised that I've actually recommended this book to people, even though I haven't read it, and that's Replay by Ken Grimwood. So Replay has such a fascinating premise. The main character dies and is reborn on his 18th birthday to replay his life. And from what I understand, he does this a few times throughout the book. And I find that concept just so thought-provoking. Imagine being reborn on your 18th birthday. What would you change? Would you make big changes in your life? Small changes? Besides buying a few stocks, I have to answer that question for myself. But I'm really looking forward to this because the praise has been so universal. And my favorite thing of the science fiction genre are the books that are about ideas. And that just sounds like a fascinating idea to write a book about. Okay, my next 3 in the science fiction genre are all by one author. So over the past 5 to 7 years, I've been gradually exploring different classic science fiction authors' works. And to be honest, it's been a little hit or miss. Isaac Asimov was a hit for me. Robert Heinlein was a miss. Frank Herbert was a big hit for me. Up next is Arthur C. Clarke. Now, I have read 2001: A Space Odyssey, but it's been so long ago, I honestly don't remember whether I liked the book or not, whether I liked Clarke's writing or not. So I picked up 3 of his novels that are pretty well known and pretty highly praised to see if Clarke is an author for me. So the first one I have here is called Rendezvous with Rama. And I think there's some sequels to this one as well. The next one that I have here is called The City and the Stars. So this one also has some high praise. And then the one that probably has the most praise that I've seen, of course, is Childhood's End. I've heard a lot of just fantastic things about this. This is a book that a lot of people list as their favorite or amongst their favorites in the science fiction genre. So I'm looking forward to some Arthur C. Clarke. Hey, if you've read Clarke, what else should I pick up if I like him? I don't know if I'll like him yet, but if I do like Arthur C. Clarke, I really am not sure where to go next. So drop me a comment in the comment section below and let me know that. All right, on to the 7 works of fantasy. The first one is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. So I saw this again at that half-price bookstore, and it was sitting next to her other famous book, Jonathan Norrell and Mr. Strange, I think is the name of it. And that one's a big chunker, and this is kind of a slim volume. And the reason I picked up the slimmer one is I've heard kind of divided opinions about Susanna Clarke's books. I've heard a lot more good than bad, and that's why they're on the TBR. I've heard enough good reviews of these books that I'm personally intrigued, but I have seen enough negative, detracting reviews that I'm just going in a little cautious. So I figured I'd pick up the smaller of the 2. But Piranesi, I remember Philip Chase giving a review on this that really made me want to read it, and I'm really looking forward to reading that one soon. All right, the next one in the fantasy genre is a book that you likely saw on my August TBR video, and that is The Legend of Black Jack by A.R. Witham. This is a self-published author. The author was kind enough to send me a nice autographed copy of the book. I put this on the TBR before the book haul simply because I'm hearing just such high praise about it. It's a portal fantasy, and it just sounds like everybody's loving this book. So I want to be part of the conversation and talk with everybody that's loving this book, and hopefully I will as well. You can definitely count on me reading that in August and reviewing that in early September. Now, the next book, this was the find at that trip to Half Price Books. I was in the clearance aisle just looking, hoping there was something cool there, and I found a hardcover, very good condition copy of Mary Stewart's The Crystal Cave. I was so happy to find this for $2. Ridiculous. The Crystal Cave is the first book in Mary Stewart's Merlin trilogy. So if you haven't heard of that trilogy, I hear it talked about in the same conversation with Marion Zimmer Bradley's Mists of Avalon and Bernard Cornwell's Warlord Chronicles as some of the best Arthurian legend retellings that are out there. And it's been on the TBR for quite some time, and I just never stumbled across it in a bookstore or just bought it online. So I'm glad that I found this. Now, of course, I have to find the second and third books in this kind of shorter book club edition height hardcover, but that's a good problem to have. But I'm definitely looking forward to this. I love great Arthur legend retellings, and those two I mentioned are definitely my two favorites. All right, 4 to go. One more and then the big book series. So the first one, this is an anthology of short stories, and it's The Inheritance by Robin Hobb and Megan Lindholm. If you are not aware, those two authors are the same person. Megan Lindholm is her real name, and Robin Hobb is her pseudonym. And to be honest, I don't know if all of these are even in the fantasy genre, and I don't care. I have grown to love Robin Hobb as an author. I will read everything that she's written. I don't care what genre it's in. So I'll be reading all the Robin Hobb and Megan Lindholm books over the next couple years or so. So I'm definitely looking forward to The Inheritance. This is going to kind of serve as kind of a coda to the grand finale, which is the Fitz and the Fool trilogy. Of course, I picked up the Harper Voyager UK paperback covers. I just love these. I can't wait to have these next to, they're out of the shot, but to have a full row of my Realm of the Elderlings, these 5 series with these beautiful editions. I love how the spines match, but each series is a little bit different. You see these are kind of this cool metallic. We got a silver, a gold, and a bronze kind of coloring to these books. So the first book of the Fitz and the Fool trilogy is Fool's Assassin. And you see this is the nice gold. And then the second book is Fool's Quest. Kind of a silver tinge to this one. And the final one is Assassin's Fate. And that's where you kind of see the bronze and the coloring there. I am so looking forward to reading this series. Even though they're on hand, this won't happen till October. We're halfway through August, and September is going to be mostly sci-fi, but you can guarantee October 1st, I'll be starting Fitz and the Fool. You can look for those reviews at the end of October for sure. Well, that's my book haul. What are you reading soon? What did you see that I'm reading that you can recommend or tell me that you enjoyed? Or not, I don't mind those kind of comments either. Just love to talk about books. That's why I'm here. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter and Goodreads. I'd love to interact with you there. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time,